In the quiet emerald hills of Ogadu village lived a girl named Naya, orphaned, forgotten, and holding onto a fading photograph of her parents. Once the daughter of one of the wealthiest families in the village, her life shifted overnight when her parents died in a tragic accident. No will was left behind, and her extended family, the Arowolo clan, swept in like vultures. They seized her inheritance, sold her parents' properties, and left her with only a crumbling ancestral home and a name too heavy for a girl her age to carry. Alone, Naya worked menial jobs, fetching water, washing clothes, sweeping compounds, just to pay her school fees. There was no one to protect her, no family to lean on. Only the old house remained, a fragile roof over a brave heart. One rainy afternoon, Naya heard the knock that would change everything. It was Uncle Lady and Aunt Ramila-kun from the Arowolo clan, standing in the doorway with fake smiles and cold eyes. They didn't come to visit, they came to negotiate. "You'll lose this house too," Aunt Remy said bluntly, "unless you agree to marry a man we've chosen." Naya's heart sank. "Marry who?" "A wealthy businessman named Korede Olanrawaju," Uncle Ladi replied. "You don't need to know him, you just need to say yes." With nowhere to go and nothing left, Naya agreed. Out of fear, not love. The Arowolos rejoiced, not for her sake, but for the dowry. They had found a way to make more money off her, one final trade. The wedding was swift and joyless. Naya wore a borrowed gown, Korede wore a well-cut navy suit and a distant expression. He didn't smile, didn't even glance at her during the vows. When it was over, he escorted her to a black SUV and drove silently to the city. In their new apartment, Naya tried to spark conversation. "Tell me about yourself," she asked gently. "I'm rich," Korede said, pouring himself a glass of wine, "and I care about staying that way." His words stung, but she smiled softly. "I see. And what don't you like?" "Being broke," he snapped. "This isn't an interview. I married you to keep my parents quiet. That's all." Naya swallowed her pride and nodded. She realized then, she wasn't a wife. She was a prop in someone else's performance. That night, Naya retreated to the downstairs room where she'd been sleeping. Korede frowned when he found out. "You're my wife now. You sleep upstairs, in our room," he said flatly. She hesitated but obeyed. In silence, she moved her belongings upstairs. The bed was too large, the silence too loud. The man beside her a stranger. They didn't speak. They didn't touch. They merely coexisted. The next morning, Korede had already left by the time she woke up. With nothing else to do, Naya cleaned the house, cooked a simple meal, and waited for his return. When he finally walked in, tired and blank-faced, she offered the food. "I'm not hungry. I already ate," he said dismissively. "I made it for both of us," she whispered. "Don't get it twisted," he snapped. "You're here for pictures, for my parents. That's it." Naya blinked. "So that's why you married me? Just so you could send them pictures?" "Yes, and don't act surprised. Your relatives got paid well for the deal." "I bought peace." "Then why not let me go now? You've taken your photos." "No," Korede said sharply. "My parents are unpredictable. They could ask for more. I can't take that risk." Naya's voice shook. "If I'm to stay, can I at least do something meaningful? Start a business, maybe?" He scoffed. "There's a TV and a fridge. You'll be fine." She knew then that she was not a partner, but a prisoner with painted walls. And yet a flame stirred in her. If she couldn't leave, she would not fade. Somehow, some way, Naya would reclaim her power, even in the house that tried to silence her. The next evening, Naya prepared a simple meal again, hopeful that Korede might eat. This time, she didn't offer it. She just left it in the kitchen. Hours later, he returned, tired, irritated, and clearly hungry. When he opened the pot and took a bite, his eyes widened in surprise. "She cooked this?" he muttered. The food was so good it felt like home. He ate quickly and quietly, making sure not to be seen. But when he returned to the bedroom, he found the bundle of cash he had given her earlier untouched on the bed. "You didn't take the money I left you." "I don't need it," Naya said softly. "You don't see me as your wife, so I have no reason to dress up for you." You must look good for the photos. My parents already think you look like a village girl. Change that. I'll take a loan from you, and I'll repay it, she replied. The next morning, Coretti left for work, and Naya left soon after. She spent the day job hunting, clutching her school certificates like they were her last shield. Hours passed. Finally, one small electronics store offered her a job. Sales assistant, starting tomorrow. She returned home before Coretti and used the loan money to buy herself a modest but elegant dress and to get her hair done. That evening, Coretti, who had forgotten his keys, knocked on the door. Naya opened it. He froze. She stood there radiant, glowing skin, elegant dress, her hair falling in waves. He couldn't speak. "You've been staring for 3 minutes," she said flatly. "Do you want to come in, or should I close the door?" Coretti walked in, dazed. "You look stunning. And you still don't like village girls, right?" Coretti, unable to focus, finally asked her to cook him something. "You said I wasn't your wife. So why would I cook for you?" she replied. "Because I'm hungry," he said sheepishly. Naya cooked instant noodles with vegetables. Nothing fancy, but to him it tasted like comfort. As he ate, he found himself stealing glances at her. He tried to brush it off. "Focus on work," he told himself. "You married her for appearances, remember?" But that night, as he lay in bed, he couldn't stop thinking about her. Her grace, her calm defiance, her beauty. And something unfamiliar crept in. Guilt. "Sleep in our room tonight," he said. "I'd rather stay in mine," Naya replied. "No, a husband and wife should sleep together." And without waiting, he carried her things upstairs. That night, Naya and Coretti slept side by side, but this time something had shifted. His hand brushed hers under the blanket. She didn't pull away. The next morning, Coretti went to work distracted. He was making mistakes on reports. He couldn't stop wondering, when did I start caring about her? That evening, he came home early and found the house empty. Panic crept in. He waited. 1 hour. 2. Then he saw a car pull into the driveway. Naya stepped out, smiling at the driver. By the time she walked inside, Coretti was livid. "Where have you been?" "I went to get something," she said, nervous. "For 3 hours? Who dropped you off?" "It was just someone helping me." Coretti's face twisted in anger. "You're a liar, a cheap one at that." Naya's voice broke. "Don't you dare call me that. I paid your dowry. You belong to me. You don't own me. You only bought photos, not a life." Coretti clenched his fists. "From now on, you don't leave this house without me." "And what do you think I am, your prisoner?" "I'm protecting what's mine." "I'm not yours," she said quietly. "Not in any way that matters." Later that night, as Naya prepared dinner, Coretti told her to sit and eat with him. She hesitated but obeyed. They ate in silence, closer than before, but miles apart. The line between duty and desire had begun to blur. And for the first time, both Naya and Coretti knew something real was growing, uninvited, unexpected, and irreversible. Coretti kept coming home early, unannounced. Yet every time Naya wasn't there, his curiosity turned to suspicion. He didn't ask her questions anymore. Instead, he made a plan. The next morning, he pretended to leave for work, but parked a few houses down. From his car, he watched as Naya emerged looking graceful and purposeful. She took a cab. He followed. The car stopped in front of a modest electronics shop. Naya stepped out, smiled at the manager, and walked inside. Through the glass, Coretti saw her laughing with customers, arranging goods, attending to receipts. She wasn't cheating. She was working. And for reasons he couldn't explain, relief swept over him, like rain on dry ground. Coretti went home and laid on the couch, tired but calm. When Naya arrived, she looked cautious. He didn't scold her. "You're home early," she said. "So are you." She dropped her bag. "I cooked." He nodded and sat with her at the table. For the first time, he didn't bark an order. He simply said, "Let's eat." As they ate, he watched her face closely, her small, tired smile, her careful grace. There was strength behind her silence. He had never noticed it before. And suddenly he found himself asking, "What do you want from this marriage?" Naya blinked, surprised. "To be treated like I exist." That night they shared a bed again, but this time they slept facing each other, both wondering what tomorrow would bring. The next day, Kuredi surprised Naya in the kitchen. "I know you've been working," he said quietly. Naya froze. "I'm sorry. I needed something to do. I didn't want to just sit here." "I followed you," he added. "I thought you were hiding something. Turns out you're just brave." Naya wasn't sure how to respond, but she knew one thing. She didn't want to fight him anymore. "I didn't want to lie," she said softly. "I just didn't think you'd understand." He nodded. "I do now, but you won't work there anymore." Her heart sank. "You'll work with me," he added. Naya's eyes widened. "In your company?" "In our company," Kuredi corrected, surprising even himself. That week, Kuredi took Naya to his company. She had never seen a building so grand. Polished floors, tall windows, staff dressed sharply. "This is all yours?" she asked in disbelief. "Yes," he said, "and now you're part of it." He introduced her to his managers and gave her a role in the client relations department. She would have her own desk, her own nameplate. Naya Olanrawaju, client relations supervisor. At lunch, Kuredi leaned over and whispered, "Now you have no excuse to dress like a village girl." She laughed. "I've been waiting for this moment to prove myself." As they walked out together that evening, his fingers brushed hers. She didn't pull away. One weekend, Kuredi took Naya to the mall. They strolled through boutiques, bought matching sneakers, and got her hair redone. As the sun began to set, he took her hand and pulled her gently toward a small crowd by a fountain. Then he knelt. Naya froze. "Kuredi, what are you doing?" He pulled out a ring. "We married for the wrong reasons, but today I want to ask the right question." A hush fell over the crowd. "Naya, will you be my wife? Not just in photos, but in love. Will you grow with me, dream with me, fight and laugh with me?" Naya blinked, heart racing. Then she smiled and said, "We're already married." He held her gaze. "Then say yes." She extended her hand. "Yes." That night after the mall proposal, Naya and Kuredi walked home slowly, hand in hand. For the first time they talked, not about duties or expectations, but dreams. When they reached the front door, Kuredi said teasingly, "You almost embarrassed me today with all that laughing." "I was testing your confidence," she grinned. They stepped inside. Naya turned on the television while Kuredi headed upstairs. When he didn't see her follow, he called out, "Are you sleeping in your room again?" "I want to be alone tonight," she called back. Kuredi didn't argue, but as he lay in bed, her final words echoed in his mind. And when she finally whispered from across the hallway, "Good night, my beautiful husband," he shot up. "Repeat that," he begged. "I love you," she said again. He ran to her room, gathered her into his arms, and held her as though she was the answer to a question he never knew he'd been asking. Ane, that night they kissed, not out of obligation, not as husband and wife under pressure, but as two people quietly falling in love. By morning, Naya awoke in his arms, both of them tangled in warmth and comfort. There was no awkwardness, no tension, only the kind of peace that comes when two people stop resisting the truth. Over breakfast, Kuredi said, "Come to the office with me today." "Again?" "This time as my equal," he replied. She nodded. She had seen power in that building, but now she was starting to feel it in herself too. Their love was no longer a lie told for family. It was slowly becoming a truth neither of them expected to live. At work, Naya stepped into her new routine with surprising grace. The staff warmed to her quickly. She was polite, sharp, and unexpectedly charismatic. Kuredi watched her from across the hallway, fascinated. When they got home that evening, Naya asked, "Are your parents still asking about grandchildren?" Kuredi chuckled nervously. "Yes, my mom called yesterday. She's setting a 1-year countdown." "Should I tell her the truth?" "No, She thinks we're already building a family. Let her enjoy the fantasy a little longer." But Naya's eyes narrowed. "What if it's not a fantasy?" Coretti paused. "Are you saying—" "I'm not sure yet," she said coyly, "but if it ever becomes real, I'll tell you first." One day, Coretti suggested something unexpected. "Let's go to your village." Naya stiffened. "Why?" "To collect your parents' goods, honor them properly, and show your uncles what they lost." When they arrived in Ogaду, people couldn't believe their eyes. Naya stepped out of a sleek black SUV, glowing with elegance, her once tattered braids now glossy curls. At her side stood Coretti, proud and protective. The same relatives who had sold her out now smiled fake smiles and offered chairs. Coretti didn't engage. Instead, he announced they'd be opening a new trade hub in the village under Naya's name. It was more than business, it was a declaration. You tried to bury her, but she bloomed. Months passed. Naya's influence grew, not only in the office but in Coretti's life. She knew how to make things run smoothly. She also knew when to challenge him. They laughed more, argued less, and kissed without needing a reason. Then one morning, she sat quietly by the window, clutching a small test strip, 2 pink lines. She waited until dinner. She made his favorite soup, lit candles, and placed a small gift box by his plate. Coretti opened it and stared at the test strip inside. "You're pregnant?" he whispered. "Yes." He didn't speak for a second. Then he knelt beside her, took her hand, and kissed it over and over. "You've given me more than I deserve," he said, "but I swear I'll earn it every day." Not long after the announcement, Mama Cor called. "Naya, I heard you're expecting. When will I meet my grandson?" "Soon, Mama," Naya replied, her voice careful. Mama Cor paused. "You told me once my son wasn't touching you. Were you lying then or lying now?" Before Naya could answer, Coretti took the phone. "Mom, we're having a child. It's real, and I'll raise them with all the love I never had growing up." There was silence. Then Mama Cor said, "Good, you have 1 year. I'm coming with your father, and if I don't find a healthy grandson or granddaughter, I will not be pleased." After the call, Coretti turned to Naya. "Sorry, she always talks like she's commanding a village." Naya smiled. "She's just excited and a little scary." In the weeks that followed, Coretti became unusually soft, watching Naya's every move, placing cushions under her feet, and calling the doctor over a mild headache. "You're acting like I'm fragile," Naya laughed one night. "You are. You're carrying something I've never had before, something that makes me want to become a better man." But beneath his tenderness, Naya sensed his fear. Would he still love her if things changed? Would he grow distant again once the baby came? One night she asked, "Do you really want this child? Or are you just trying to prove something to your parents?" Coretti stared at her. "I want this child because it's ours, because you're the first thing in my life that wasn't built on profit." Naya's pregnancy began showing. One day at work, she walked past a group of clients and caught them whispering. Unto, "Is that Coretti's wife? I thought he'd marry into wealth." Coretti heard it too. That evening, he took Naya out for dinner at one of the most exclusive restaurants in the city. As they entered, staff scrambled to welcome them. Flashbulbs snapped. He leaned over and said softly, "Let them talk. You don't owe anyone an explanation." Later, as they left, Naya asked, "Why did you bring me here?" "Because people need to know you didn't marry into wealth. You brought grace into it." Naya blinked. She had never heard him speak with so much pride in his voice. One bright Saturday, they returned to Ogaду again, this time with moving trucks. Coretti and Naya donated school supplies, equipment, and clothes to the village's women's group. The villagers gathered under trees, clapping and dancing. Aunt Ramilakun tried to sneak in a word with Naya. "So it worked out, didn't it?" she said sweetly. "Your suffering led to something great." Naya's gaze didn't falter. "I didn't suffer because of fate, I suffered because of you. But I'm healing, and I'm building." Coretti stepped beside her. "We've set up a business here under Naya's full control. Any interference will be met with legal fire." That day, Naya reclaimed not just her land, but her dignity. Months passed. Naya went into labor on a quiet Tuesday morning. Kuredi rushed her to the private hospital he'd chosen long before, clean, calm, and overlooking a small lake. After hours of labor, Naya gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Kuredi held his son with trembling hands. "He looks like you," Naya whispered. "No," he replied. "He looks like strength." When Mamakor arrived 2 weeks later with Babakor in tow, she held the child and finally smiled. "This boy will carry our name well." Naya whispered under her breath, "He'll carry mine too." Kuredi heard it, and he smiled. "Of course," he said, "because without your name, mine means nothing." Weeks after their son's birth, Kuredi surprised Naya with a visit to one of the newer office buildings. The space was still under construction, white walls, marble floors, sunlight streaming in through tall glass windows. "What's this place, Wayne Ball?" Naya asked, holding their baby boy close. Kuredi handed her a folder. She opened it to see a business registration certificate. Naya Company Legacy Ventures. Founder, Naya Olanraweju. "This is yours," he said. "Not ours, yours." Naya blinked back tears. "Why?" "Because you gave me a future, and now I'm giving you one in your name." Though Kuredi and Naya had built a new life, the wounds of the past still lingered. One night, as Naya folded baby clothes, she paused. "Do you ever think about how this all started? That it wasn't love, it was control?" Kuredi nodded. "I think about it more than I want to admit." She looked at him. "And what if we had never changed? What if we stayed cold? Would you still be okay?" "No," he said, "because you made me human." He reached over and took her hand. "I may have married you out of selfishness, but I stayed because I fell for your soul." And in that moment, Naya forgave it all. They returned once more to Ogudu, but not to confront. This time it was to invite. The Arowolos were stunned when they received beautifully printed cards. Naming ceremony, invitation for our son, Zikora. Many came out of guilt, others out of shame, but all came with curiosity. What they saw left them speechless. Naya stood tall in a golden gown, her baby wrapped in white silk. Kuredi never left her side, proudly introducing his wife and child to guests. During the ceremony, Naya gave a short speech. "To those who betrayed me, I thank you. You gave me a story. But more importantly, I wrote my own ending." That night, under the stars, Kuredi found Naya in the garden, swaying gently with Sakura in her arms. "You changed everything," he said. She turned to him. "We did." "I used to think marriage was a transaction," Kuredi admitted. "Now I know, it's a transformation." Naya smiled. "I used to think love was a fairy tale, but now I know, it's a choice, and I choose you." He leaned in and kissed her forehead. "Let's promise to never forget how far we've come. Let's promise to raise our son in truth, not in power plays." And in the silence, they sealed that vow. Years passed. Naya's businesses flourished. Her name became known not just in Ogudu but beyond. She launched scholarship programs for orphan girls, built a clinic in her village, and mentored women across communities. Kuredi's empire grew too, but quieter, steadier. Every meeting, every decision he now shared with Naya. Not out of obligation, but because she had become his compass. Zikora, now walking, played between their feet one sunny afternoon as they sipped tea on the balcony. "We were meant to break each other," Kuredi said suddenly, "but we ended up healing each other instead." Naya reached out and laced her fingers with his. "We didn't just survive," she said. "We rewrote the ending." Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, kindly like this video and subscribe to this channel for more amazing stories.